Hey, I'm Nancy Cavey, National ERISA Disability Attorney. Welcome to Winning Isn't Easy. Before we get started, I've got to give you a legal disclaimer. This podcast isn't legal advice. The Florida Bar Association says I have to say this, so I've said it. But nothing prevents me from giving you an easy to understand overview of the disability insurance world, the games that carriers play, and what you need to know to get the disability benefits you deserve. So off we go with today's episode. Over the last several weeks, I've been talking about the disability insurance application process, what you need to know about the application, the work history forms, the activities of daily living forms that you have to fill out as part of the application process. But today, I'm going to talk about one of the most important forms that can make or break your disability insurance claim. It's the attending physician statement form, known as the APS form. Today, I'm going to talk about three things. The first thing I would talk about is what is an attending physician statement, how it can make or break your claim from the very beginning. Secondly, what's the APS form used for, and how is it used to deny your claim when the definition of disability changes from your own occupation to any occupation. And lastly, I'm going to tell you the story of a David versus Goliath, how constant pain prevented a policyholder from sitting more than 4 hours, and how pain should be a factor in evaluating every disability claim. So before we get started with today's episode, let's take a quick break.
Have you been robbed of your peace of mind from your disability insurance carrier? You owe it to yourself to get a copy of Robbed of Your Peace of Mind, which provides you with everything you need to know about the long-term disability claim process. Request your free copy of the book at caveylaw.com today.
Welcome back. Are you ready to get started? So let's first talk about what is an attending physician statement and how it can make or break your claim from the very beginning. An attending physician statement form is a form that the disability carrier is going to send to your physician. That form is going to ask your doctor questions about your physical or your psychiatric restrictions and limitations. Now, you need to understand right off the bat that the APS form will never tell your doctor that if they assign what's called sedentary restrictions and limitations, your benefits will be stopped at the any occupation stage. And the forms are designed at all stages of the case to have your doctor unwittingly give you restrictions and limitations that will allow you to deny your claim. So let's first talk about the own occupation stage. Own occupation benefits are normally paid for the first 2 years after a person becomes disabled. And the issue is whether or not you're able to do the material and substantial duties of your own occupation. Now, in this stage, I think there are three important things to consider. The first is the APS form itself. As I've said, the APS form rarely asks the right questions about your physical ability or psychiatric ability to do your own occupation. This is a generic form that doesn't ask the right questions because the carrier doesn't want to pay benefits. What I do is I take that generic and wrong APS form and I will modify it by attaching to it what's called a residual functional capacity form. Now, I'm a Social Security lawyer, so I know all about these residual functional capacity forms that are used for various medical conditions. I want to make sure that your physician is being asked the right questions. So that's why I attach the residual functional capacity form that's applicable to your medical condition and ask your physician to complete it. And by the way, if I'm representing you in your Social Security case, I am using that APS form and the residual functional capacity form in your Social Security claim. Now, the second thing that you need to ask is my doctor going to fill it out? And if not, what do I need to do? I just had a call with one of my clients whose rheumatologist refuses to fill out the form. And I had to tell her that we have no choice but to find another rheumatologist who will fill out the form or we're not going to win, because the carrier properly will insist under the terms of the policy that the APS form be completed. It's a policy requirement. And if you don't have that policy requirement fulfilled, the carrier has a legitimate reason to deny the claim. They don't even get to the question of whether or not you're disabled. The other thing that we need to consider at this stage is what's in your medical records. And do your medical records reflect your symptoms and the impact your symptoms are having on your ability to function? That's crucial because we need to understand, and the carrier needs to understand what those symptoms are and the impact on your ability to do not only your activities of daily living, but your ability to do your own occupation. And that leads me to the third thing, and that is, what information should you supply to your doctor to assist them in filling out that form accurately? Well, obviously, a good history of what your symptoms are and how your symptoms impact your ability to function is key, because the doctor is going to be relying in part on your complaints. But more importantly, the doctor probably has no clue as to how you do the material and substantial duties of your occupation. Now, you've got to go to the policy definition to learn that. Is your occupation as defined by the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, how it's done in your local economy, how it's done for your employer? Because you want to make sure that you are providing the doctor with the relevant information about your material and substantial duties that conform with the definition of disability in your policy. I like my clients to actually write down what the material and substantial duties of their occupation are, both physically, cognitively, or behavioral, and then write across from that particular duty what the symptoms are that impacts their ability to do that particular function, so that the doctor can connect the two in filling out the APS form. So let's take a quick break, and when we return, I'm going to talk about our second topic, so stay tuned.